And I grew up in Stockton. I was raised in the historic Goss house right here on 59. I spent my entire childhood romping around in the boggy woods back behind our property, hopping over little streams, making tree forts. There's one of my childhood friends. In the same woods that could be soon a vast field of solar panels. I played with a little girl whose great-grandfather built the house that I lived in, and her grandfather was my neighbor, Tom Goss. And Davita Hasty was my neighbor on the other side. Both Mr. Goss and Miss Davita were like grandparent figures throughout my childhood. In fact, it's because of Davita Hasty that I stand here at this podium tonight. If you're from Stockton, you know who I'm talking about already. But for those of you who don't know the name, she was who we referred to as the mayor of Stockton when I was a kid. And it's because she dedicated her lifetime to preserving the history of Stockton and preserving its wetlands. In fact, she was the leader of the civilian group that shut down the Cooper Development Project, a massive subdivision with retention ponds that was slated to go on this very same property that we are discussing today, back in the early 2000s. She's the reason we still have these wetlands, and that's why we have the Davita Hasty Nature Trail, a Davita Hasty Memorial, and Hasty Lake, all at the Baldwin County Bicentennial Park here in Stockton on 225. Rains Creek runs between that park and Live Oak Landing, and it also runs through this 4,500 acre piece of land. Anyways, I woke up just a handful of days ago to the breaking news from Lagniappe about this solar complex slated to engulf Stockton, and I saw an early comment at 3 a.m. that said, Davita Hasty would never let this get by her. And something boiled inside of me as the truth of those words hit me. And I decided that I was going to fight. And after our first interview with NBC 15, Georgine Goss Connor, who runs the Stockton Heritage Association and Museum, looked at me and said, we're going to fight this in the spirit of Davita. So in her spirit, we, the citizens of Baldwin County, will be a force to reckon with, because we do care about these wetlands and we see the value in its vital and also fragile ecosystem. This is the lifeblood of our delta. This Tensal Delta that is dubbed America's Amazon, which is possibly the most biodiverse place in North America. And so I got all fired up. And I digitally bumped into Laura Chancey Lane, who was equally outraged that same morning. She said she had just made a Facebook page and asked if I would like to be an admin. And here we are, a massive grassroots civilian group who is quickly organizing and putting their heads and resources and connections together to find a way to stop this unwanted project that giant corporations and some sneaky politicians cooked up.
That's right.
They underestimated Stockton. And they underestimated Baldwin County.
Yes.
On that note, I do want to say we will be discussing our first call to action in a little while. And I want to be sure you know to grab a flyer that has the call to action item and the information on it before you head out tonight. We have a series of these that we will be releasing. It will also be posted and pinned at the top of our group, and we'll likely be emailing them out as well if you've signed in tonight. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge and thank the Stockton Civic Club for so graciously offering their venue as our first meetup spot. They didn't hesitate to say yes, that we could hold our town hall here, use their tables and chairs and equipment, and unlock the gates. We are so grateful to Lorraine and the Stockton Civic Club for allowing us a gathering place. And before we get on to the main agenda for tonight, I just want to ask that we save all comments and questions for the end tonight. And keep it cool, everybody. We also have a table if you'd like to submit your comments or questions, if you don't feel comfortable speaking, or if there's not enough time, or if you just want to drop me a note and say, let me in, let me help. We will try to address as many of your comments and questions as we can via the Facebook group if we can't get to stuff tonight. And without further ado, I'd like to invite Reverend Ken Lane from the Stockton Presbyterian Church to open our meeting with a prayer before we begin.
Seems like a prayer would be more than appropriate this evening. Let's pray together. Our gracious God and Savior, we are all concerned about the world in which we live. We care about the land, we care about the water, we care about the animals and all the creatures that live there. Not just because we know that they affect us, but we know that they are created by you and therefore a blessing for all. Lord, we pray this evening that you would be here among us, that you would help us to be thoughtful, careful with our words, that hearts would be, there are a lot of emotions that are around this particular issue, but we pray that we would be civil, that we would be kind, that we would be loving, and remember that even though some of us may have differences of opinion, that we are all your children. And we pray for peace, we pray for love, and we pray for your mercy. Be with us now. In Christ's name, amen. Amen.
My name is John Murphy, and I live in Stockton, and I've been fortunate enough to live in our family home that's been there since the 1800s. One of the things I'm supposed to do is tell you a little bit about our plan going forward as far as how we want to respond. And I want to tell you, we're very appreciative that all of you have shown up, because that's the first big part. This is going to be an ongoing process. It won't be something that just happens tonight. And we know a lot of people want to speak, and I also want to thank everyone for leaving the pitchforks in the truck, because I have been reading the Facebook page. But everybody here is on the same side. We're all trying to do the same thing, especially tonight. We don't have the solar panel representatives here. We don't have the others. So we do want to take this opportunity for people to be able to talk and be able to get the information they need. For us to do that, we want to try to keep everything as punctual as possible, because it's also a Monday night, and I know y'all want to go home. But we also want to get as much information as we can out. We can't really do that if we overspeak somebody else or we do something else. So we do have an allotment on the agenda for people to talk. And I will say also, we're very fortunate. I don't always say real fortunate when you have a lot of politicians, but we do have a lot of politicians here. And this is a great time. I think they see how important this is to everyone that's here. And take that time to talk to them. Go find them and speak to them and let them know what you think. Because I'm pretty sure y'all all feel the same way we do. But again, I appreciate you coming. If you have any questions, again, we have more room out the side, and if you want to go out there, that's fine. But I know you're getting tired of standing, but we still got a little while to go. And in the Army, they taught me one thing: be brief or be brilliant. So I'm going to have to turn this thing off for the next person real quick. This is Nick.
All right, everybody. Anybody hear me okay? Megan is a tough act to follow, and I'm a writer, not an orator, so I'm mic closer. Better? Okay. I'm a writer, not an orator, so I have a script I'm going to read for it. Y'all will have to imagine charisma. I'm going to set my watch to 10 minutes because I would rather y'all speak, but I've been tasked with kind of summarizing this as succinctly but as clearly as possible. I know there's a lot of information whirling around out there, So we're just going to try to speed run an explanation of an event that really nobody understands at this point. So my name is Nick Williams. I'm the managing editor of Great Days Outdoors Media. You may remember that better as Gulf Coast Outdoors Magazine. It used to be in gas stations all over South Alabama. I serve on the board at Mobile Baykeeper. I got involved after attending a public hearing about the coal ash ponds at Berry Steam Plant. So that's kind of my professional background. Sorry. Directional. Hold it next to my lips, like that. Better. All right, here we go. So anyway, personal connection to Stockton real quick. I've been coming up here to hunt, fish, paddle since I was 16. Wore grooves in the road coming up 225 in an old Chevy Suburban with a 10-foot kayak in the back. My wife and I spent a lot of time up here when we were dating. One of those trips, we were floating down Tensall Lake past Coon Neck Bend. I'm sure y'all know it. We saw a fish camp for sale on the bluff, and we bought it. We lived there for 7 years, kind of found our feet as a couple. We had our daughter. Living up there, it really gave me a deep appreciation for Stockton, the history and the water, the creeks, the hunting, the fishing, the wildlife, the peace and quiet. I could watch alligators, otters, bald eagles, and deer fly out my window, eating coffee in the morning. We watched people fish brush piles below the house all day long. I'd rush to the window with my baby girl so that she could see the bass boats go by. So anyway, I also processed some heavy personal things out there in the privacy and peace that only a swamp can give you. So when I learned about this project and what it could mean, I was gutted, and that's why I'm here tonight, and that's enough about me. We're going to move on to the situation. So this community sits on some of the deepest history in Alabama. It was once the heart of the Tensall people's civilization and one of the most important river towns in South Alabama outside of Mobile and Blakely. The old Federal Road ended here, stagecoaches stopped here, steamers connected the town to the rest of the state. Just outside of town, Miss Claudia knows that Fort Mims Massacre helped to ignite the Creek War and shape the course of the War of 1812 here in the South. If you've ever watched the old Fess Parker Davy Crockett movie, when the arrow hits the map and sets on fire, that's here in Stockton. So, fun fact. Families have lived and worked here for generations. This is a small town. This is not an unimportant town. There are people here tonight whose families have been here for more than 200 years. The roots run deep. Stockton has endured because people like Miss DeVita and yourselves have taken care of it. So, flash forward to today. A little over 2 months ago, the Alabama Public Service Commission approved 2 massive utility-scale solar projects covering more than 4,500 acres of timberland and swamp just outside of here, near the intersection of Highway 59 and I-65. Most people in this room, if not all, didn't hear about it beforehand. There's a lot to get into there, but they thought they could slip it past us and we'd all just have to learn to like it. So these solar fields are being built to support the data center operated by Meta in Montgomery, more than 150 miles away. The power generated here is not going to directly serve Stockton or North Baldwin County. In simple terms, this land is being permanently altered to solve an energy problem somewhere else. The developer for this project is Silicon Ranch. They're a Nashville-based company. Facilities of this size, to our understanding at this point, is going to mean clearing thousands of acres of timber. They're going to have to come in grade, level, move a lot of dirt. They're going to have to install industrial infrastructure on land that drains directly into Range Creek, Aikens, Flats, and eventually the Tensall River. Silicon Ranch has already been held responsible in court for polluting waterways at other solar sites in Georgia after sediment ran off into nearby streams. One of the things they cited in the lawsuit, they cited erodible soils as a challenge to them. Everybody here knows we get a lot of rain and our soils are pretty darn erodible. This isn't the only project going on. So there's a second solar development not pictured on this map. It's nearly 3,000 additional acres. That project has already secured land just north of Stockton by Majors and Pine Log Creek, and Miss Claudia here has made me promise to let y'all know that that's going to butt up next to Boatyard Lake and the Alabama River. So it's going to cover a huge chunk of very popular hunting and fishing land. So taken together, these projects represent what we believe is an enormous industrial footprint that's quietly forming around a historic rural community and an irreplaceable wetland system. This is obviously being done without public consent. So let me be clear about, at this point, what I think we're all asking for, what I'm asking for. I can't speak for the entire room. I'm not personally anti-solar. I'm not anti-progress. But I think everybody here believes that historic communities and sensitive wetlands are the wrong places for projects of this size. I appreciate the applause. It lets me catch my breath. I'm speaking on this for you. So, we're asking the decision makers to put these facilities somewhere better suited for them. That's all that we're asking for. Now, a lot of you in this room, y'all have taken time to come out here. Y'all look like doers. We need doers. If you're upset about this and you want to help, I'm about to get into what y'all can do. It's going to get a little technical, so bear with me. I promise I'm going to circle this back around. So, all of this is going on here, up in Montgomery. The state legislature is in session right now, and there's two bills that directly affect projects like this. So you have Senate Bill 71, which would end the public's ability to vote for Public Service Commission members. It would make those the seats appointees instead of elected. So right now, when people like yourselves call the PSC very angry about these decisions, it scares them a little. They don't like it because they need votes to keep their jobs. A lot of y'all I know have called. If this bill passes, that pressure disappears. They're not going to care if you blow up their phones like you have been doing because you're not going to be voting for them anymore. Another bill, HB 392, weakens state-level protections for land and water, leaving communities with fewer options when large industrial projects move fast and locals are expected to live with the results. Out here, the state-level protections matter because we're not in the city limits. Regulations are thin. Projects like this come here because state rules are the only guardrails in place. If this bill passes, all they have to worry about is federal law. So, taken together, these two bills, we believe, make projects like this easier to push through, harder for people in this room to slow it down and stop them. Corporate interest wants this to pass. I don't think we do. And I don't have the last printout of my speech, so now I'm winging it. Basically, we're asking everybody, we're going to put this information on our website. We're asking you to call the Speaker of the House and ask him not to move these bills to be voted on unless the language substantially changes. I think that's it. What am I missing, Megan? All right. Y'all get your smack away from me. We've got, Laura, we've got two speakers scheduled, and I do not have the agenda on them. We're super professional. Super
First
time.
Yeah.
Okay, the first speaker that we're going to have up tonight, many of you are familiar with. His name is Jim Ziegler. And Jim has, you may be familiar with the Block the Toll Road and the Bay Bridge. And Jim ran this huge Facebook group for that. And he's here tonight, and he's going to speak to us for a few minutes. Oh, I might also mention that Jim is running for the Public Service Commission. So, he's the kind of guy that we need in our back pocket here. So, let me bring him on up here. Mr. Ziegler.
We love you, Dad!
Thank you. I see familiar faces. How many of you were involved when we blocked the toll on the Interstate 10 Bayway? I knew it. I knew it. We can do it again. We can block the so-called solar farm in Stockton. Now, why did I call it a so-called solar farm? It's not farming anything except money. It's not cultivating or harvesting anything accept money. It's not a farm. They call it a solar farm because we love our farms. It has a warm, rural, dirt, close to the ground feeling to call it a farm. It's not a solar farm. It's a solar monstrosity right here in Stockton. Now, I am a strategist. A strategist, that word was made famous by President George Bush the Younger. And in my case, it means that when the government or a private development is going to build an impactful development and the local people are against it, and it's going to impact them adversely, how do they block it? Not just how do they spread the word, that's okay to a point. How do they raise awareness? That's okay to a point. How do you block the doggone thing? That's what I do. I come up with a strategy to block the thing. That's what we really want done. All right. I have come up in the 5 days that I've known about this project. How many of you only found out about this in the last week? Look at that. Look at that. That's part of their strategy. They were going to slip this by you and me. They have so far, but it ain't through with. That's an Alabama term right there, through with. It's not through with. I have come up with one way, and there will be a half dozen more, to block this thing. It's already been mentioned by Nick Williams. On December 2nd of 25, the Alabama Public Service Commission passed and approved a power purchase agreement between this development and Alabama Power Company. And that was necessary for this program. It was absolutely necessary. Now, did you know they were going to vote on it December 2nd? No. I didn't either. So, the idea is that some of you who are property owners close by to this thing, how many does that count? You, all right. Oh, we don't even need that many. You sign off on a motion at the Public Service Commission to reconsider the December 2nd order that granted this thing. And in it, your lawyers, once you get lawyers, and there's some here tonight, can allege there's a possibility that their rules about how long they have to study something before they can pass it were violated. There is an absolute certainty that the general public didn't know about this. Think we can prove that? We can. I live in Mobile County. You can allege that they haven't addressed the effect on water, the amount of water that's going to be used, what's going to be done to the wastewater and other waste that's put out by the thing, what effect this will have on the streams. And somebody told me that Shit Creek runs through this thing. Is there such a thing, or somebody put it in my leg? Well, if it doesn't, we don't want it brought in here. And all of the other questions that weren't addressed in the 3 minutes that the Public Service Commission considered this before they unanimously stamped it. All right, so, Megan?
Yes, sir. I'm on your other side.
Who do you want these property owners to contact if they want to sign off on a reconsideration motion before the PSC? You?
Come talk to me.
Okay, and do they have your contact information?
I will give it to them. I don't know, y'all come talk to me. I don't wanna do it with all this media.
I get that. All right, now, if we can put together a real good motion, and they'll set it for a hearing. Now, I think we ought to ask them to hold a hearing right here in this room. When I was elected by you to the Public Service Commission in 1874, we held a hearing in the Crossroads School on 225. You know where that is? And we filled the thing up, and this was going to adversely affect the beach, the development. So they put together a group called Save Our Beach. And the chief SOB came in there and tested that Save Our Beach. Came in there and brought his whole group with him. And the people won on that one too. So that is the idea that I have contributed at this point. Now, some other ideas are being kicked around. Let's do one at a time. There's some information that if 10% of the people in the county commission district sign a petition for a zoning referendum, that there'll be one held, and that you could zone this thing for residential. Well, that would mess them up, wouldn't it? There may be other zoning designations available that would block the thing. But these are the kinds of ideas that can actually block the thing, not just sign a petition or email the speaker. Those things are okay, but they're incomplete. They fall short of actually blocking the thing. So I'm going to be raising this issue all over the state of Alabama because there's another one of these just north of Stockton, and we need to take a look at that. In Covington County, they have a thing called a carbon dioxide concentrator, and it can be horrible to the farmland and to the water system over there. Outside of Bessemer, Alabama, they're building a monstrosity. In Colbert County, up in the Shoals area, they've got one. These things are coming. There are different types. There are data centers, there are so-called solar farms, there are various types of these huge developments that impact the locals. And Deanne Campbell, have you got any in your district coming in that you know of? Okay. You can do this. When we started the Block the Toll group, the people in Montgomery told me, you are wasting your time. It's a done deal. Have you heard that about this so-called solar farm? It's a done deal. It's nothing, don't listen to that. That toll was a done deal, and I hadn't paid it yet. You hadn't either. All right, well, thank you so very, very much, and I'll be contributing to your Facebook page.
My agenda sheet is way over there.
You do it.
Okay, the next person that we have up to speak is Mr. Jeff Boyd, who is supposed to be here. I'm not sure if he's here.
No? Okay. Is it time for
Okay.
comments then?
Yes,
Okay.
we'll move on.
All right, moving on. Took a look at the speaker signups, and let's listen to Mr. Kit Smith.
All right, Kip. I don't know if I can follow Jim Ziegler.
So I just want to point out, we have a packed house. There's as many people outside as there are inside. We want as many people to speak as possibly can. We're going to ask you to try to keep it to a minute. Just in the interest of us all getting out of here while it's still the 9th instead of it being the 10th by the time we wrap up. So.
One of the ways that Jim was talking about how we can stop this, it all has to deal with the site itself. I'm very familiar with the NRCS, Soil Conservation Service, soil data. And I've studied the soils today, and basically what they are up against, I really don't think they did any due diligence at all when they took a look at this site. Basically, based upon this soil data, you have 879 acres that are wet, lumial, alluvial land, which are basically wetland hydric soils. There are 24.5 acres of high vapor and muck soils, which are also wetlands. And then the other main issues of this site, if anybody's familiar and grown up here in Stockton, is the rolling hillsides. There are 857 acres of this property that the topography is between 12 and 25%. You have 353 acres that have 12 to 17% slopes. And you have 982 acres that have 8 to 17% slopes. There are 160.5 acres that have 8 to 12% slopes. You cannot grade these areas flat without a significant amount of site work. And how are they going to put up siltation fences on these hillsides when they try to flatten this off to prevent erosion going down into our creeks that feed our delta system? Bottom line is that these hills that slope to the creeks, there's about 3,264 acres of this 4,500 acre tract that have topographic and wetland issues. And, that is one of the things that I really think that we're going to be able to concentrate on, and with some of these regulatory authorities that are going to be looking at this piece of property, that we're going to be able to stop them. Another thing that I find of interest is that I pulled the recorded option on this piece of property. It was signed in September of 25, September of 24. It was not recorded until June of 25. You had that much of a time lapse before it was even recorded. And it was only for a 1-year option. So it's already February. They only have 10 months left on their option to get this thing through all regulatory agencies. And I don't know if any of y'all even tried to build a pole barn before, and how long it takes you to get a permit to build a pole barn. These people are going to have some issues with them. And I know my wife said don't talk about my family history, but I got to say one thing. That piece of property right there was an original land grant to Samuel Kitchen, and my name is Samuel Kitchen Smith III, and I'll close it with that. So I've got a vested interest in this property. Thank you.
Okay, Chris Geck, where are you at? Inside or outside? Okay, here he's coming.
He's running.
And squeeze past.
Well, I must apologize. I am not good at public speaking. And I'm mainly here because this here is all my property. And I have on my property, and of course not all at one time, but I would show all of you multiple coach whips and gopher tortoises. A lot of gophers. And I plant some of this for the deer. And just about every year I pick up one or two babies coming from that property onto my property and guide them back, hopefully to their holes. I am completely against this. I built my house there for my kids, right? I want them to, this is where I grew up too. I mean, I've been here almost 47 years. I don't know what else to say. This is not something that I want in my backyard. So, thank you.
Thanks, Chris. I thought it was important to hear about the gopher tortoises, right? Okay, yeah, tortoises. Endangered, yes, endangered.
But I have done some research. They are federally endangered, but not in this area. They're only covered here by state law. So that's something we need to look to.
East of the Mobile River, they are not.
Taylor Wilkins, can you make your way up?
I was one time a adjoining landowner to this piece of property, and I did a project, and I was able to spend time on Aiken Creek, and one of the prettiest places I've been. And you know, if any of y'all have ever ridden Maytower Road, all that watershed is just straight down into the creeks and everything like that. And I think this is a great show out for Stockton. I think we need more of that in Baldwin County. What we're dealing with, I don't hold me to this. I think what Baldwin County is like pushing 260,000 people. I mean, we don't have impact for housing, impact permits for housing. You know, North Baldwin is not seeing the housing growth that the south end of the county is. And, you know, and then all of a sudden we get this. Now, what you have coming in the future, you've got Novellis. You're going to get a road from Bucky's all the way up here. I will say this, as far as I just got back from New Mexico, I drove out there, and I saw less deer killed from here to New Mexico and back than I see on a daily basis, like on I-10 and all around, and the pressures that's coming. But now, as far as this site, and I know we'll hear it tonight, and I didn't get the gifts my father did. I lasted one night at law school, if you knew him. But you know, a project, I'm pro-green energy. But you know, if you look at where this data center is going, just so you know, it's across from Hyundai, up by Montgomery. And you know, there's federally mandated, let's see, what is it? Federally impact areas that, like, you've got Dallas County, Lowndes County, Crenshaw County, and there are fallow fields sitting out there. And you know, to me, that's the perfect spot for something. And when you see a solar farm, and I've seen them from New Mexico, Texas, California, they're always on flat ground. And so this has got to be one of the worst sites there is. But I'll kind of say this, is this property, and let me tell you, Kit Smith is a wealth of knowledge, from real estate to everything else. And I'm probably one of the few people in here not on social media, but we need people communicating with Meta and these other people, because I want to believe when they came up with the idea, because look, the Southern Company's no fan of green energy. I mean, come on, we should have panels on our roof like they do in Louisiana. Finally, they're getting them in the Pensacola, the Panhandle, because Gulf Power was bought out by Florida Power and Light and Nextera. But you know, as far as all these areas where we could have solar farms that make sense, there, by the way, is another one up from the, and I'm sorry, I can, my ADD gets me, but as far as the data center, if you look at Google Earth, there's an 800-acre one not too far. why they're not doing something on the rooftops at Hyundai and all these other places. By the way, Airbus, when they moved in, they wanted to do it, but the Southern Company was no fan. So I'm going to leave you with this. At the end of it, when all of us are surprised why this is being done, okay? You know, we know that this piece of property one time, I think it was sold or bought for $17 million. Now we hear $50-something million. You know, people in this world want to move from a Citation jet to a Gulfstream. It's sad, it's greedy. But you can do something about it. So contact your people. I don't know where all the elected officials are. They should be here. They represent you. And we need it, and we need people speaking out. And thank y'all for having us.
Okay, I think I've got 13 more people, so we're going to keep it a little shorter. Maria Hoffman, Riley Chun, and Reva Freilich. I hope I said your names right. Can all three of you come on up here to save some time? Maria Hoffman, Riley Chun, Reva Freilich. Oh, you come on up then. Save some time.
No, let him go first.
All right, Riley.
Okay, here we go. Hi, everybody. I just want to first start off and say how happy it makes my heart to see all of you out here supporting the cause. My name is Maria Hoffman. I run a small little group. It's called Little Roots. I work in outdoor education, which seems like a very broad thing, but what I do is I work with children to teach them about South Alabama and our ecology here so that they can grow up to be people like you that show up and support. I have some notes here. I'm not the best public speaker, but I'll give it a shot. There are a lot of knowledgeable voices here tonight speaking on what they know best. I'm here to offer my small 2 cents from an ecological and conservation perspective. Sorry. The proposed site lies within a river basin that feeds into the Mobile-Tensas Delta, often called America's Amazon. The surrounding landscape includes bottomland hardwood forests, wetlands, floodplains, and longleaf pine forest, and wildlife corridors that connect forest to freshwater systems. These ecosystems depend on natural hydrology, seasonal flooding, groundwater flow, intact soil structure, and when this system is altered, the effects extend far beyond immediate footprint of this project. This area is also known as gopher tortoise habitat, which I heard someone mention earlier. Just to give you an idea of how ecologically significant, someone was just talking about gopher tortoises, which made me happy. Just to give you an idea of how ecologically significant the gopher tortoise is, it supports over 300 species. The tunnels that they build underground help everything from rabbits to foxes to our federally protected indigo snake. Which is one of the largest native snakes in North America. Indigo snakes rely on intact upland habitat and gopher tortoises burrows to survive. When gopher tortoise habitat is destroyed or fragmented, the impact isn't isolated. This destabilizes an entire underground ecosystem. That's why Alabama protects gopher tortoises. Once this habitat is gone, it is extremely difficult and often impossible to restore. This watershed also supports dozens of endemic freshwater species, many of which exist nowhere else on Earth. That includes rare mussels and snails, as well as the Alabama red-bellied turtle, a species found only in the Mobile-Tensas River system. The broader landscape and hydrology of this region also supports species like the red-hill salamander, a federally endangered amphibian that again only exists in South Alabama. These species depend on stable soils, intact forests, and unaltered water systems, conditions that are increasingly rare as large-scale land clearing continues. Freshwater species are especially sensitive to sediment runoff, altered water flow, and soil compaction. Large-scale clearing upstream directly impacts water quality downstream, affecting species that cannot relocate or adapt. To be clear, we don't just lose species here, we lose them globally because many of them exist only in this watershed. Alabama leads the nation in freshwater biodiversity. According to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, 151 species in our state are listed as threatened or endangered, most of them freshwater animals. We've already lost at least 82 species, giving Alabama the highest number of continental extinctions in the country. I understand no decision is being made tonight, and that's exactly why these conversations matter now. This proposal involves thousands of acres in one of the most ecologically important regions of our state. Once land like this is cleared or fragmented, the impacts are permanent. Even if the approval process feels temporary, no amount of mitigation can fully replace a lost ecosystem. I want to be clear, this is not an argument against solar energy, it is an argument for responsibility. Where we place large-scale infrastructure matters just as much as what we build. This land is not empty. It supports wetlands, wildlife corridors, and keystone species. Let me see. Progress should not come at the cost of what makes this place worth protecting in the first place. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you, Maria. Riley Chun.
Well, I wrote a 12-paragraph speech here, and obviously we're not gonna make that happen. A lot of what I wanted to say has already been said, but I just want to start off and say that I don't own any property near where this is. I live in Spanish Fort. I was born and raised here. First, do we have any elected officials currently here right now? Any county commissioners here? Anyone? I mean, I see one. How about those that are campaigning to run? Great. Okay, good. Great. Thank you for being here. I'm not an environmentalist. I'd say I'm more a conservationist. I enjoy boating and hunting, and despite not being an environmentalist, this is disgusting to me to see the kind of impact that it would have on our community. There's a lot that's been said, but in a nutshell, we're being asked to take comfort in assurances that everything is going to be done responsibly and in compliance, and I think history tells us to be careful about that. In Michigan in 2010, this is just recent stuff, there was a pipeline that was approved, inspected, and supposedly monitored that then ruptured into the Kalamazoo River system. In Canada and British Columbia in 2014, a permitted and engineered dam collapsed and sent waste into connected lakes and rivers. In Colorado, where I spent about half the year of my life, in 2015, a cleanup project was meant to improve safety and turn the Animas River orange overnight. In every one of these cases, the paperwork has said the safeguards were in place. The people assured us that it was going to be safe. Once the water was hit, there's no undo button. The communities downstream paid the price long after the approvals were forgotten. And it's not about bad intent. That's with the best of intent. And yet these things still happened. There's a larger problem. This is a symptom of it. And it's not an attractive thing to talk about. It doesn't really get people riled up. The zoning code that we have in this county is antiquated and outdated and not nearly equipped to handle the kind of development and growth that we've seen over the last 20 years. That's the problem. Now, we have a structural gap. Unzoned land in Baldwin County is effectively a loophole that allows massive projects to move forward with far less visibility and scrutiny than the regional impact deserves. This puts us in a reactive posture instead of a governing one. People can come from the outside with deep pockets and a lot of resources and can quietly acquire thousands of acres in sensitive watersheds, move project forward, and rely on regulatory systems that are already either too closely intertwined with the interests they're supposed to oversee, or they don't exist at all. We're going to end up managing downstream consequences without having had the tools to shape the decision up front. I just want to thank everybody for showing up, but I would caution you to not give any more regulatory authority to people that are already asleep at the wheel. Because what that happens, and even the ones that are running for election, once you give that stuff, again, let's assume the best possible scenario that they were paying attention. Their hands are tied, they can't do anything. If we give them more power, where do we go from there? We're worse off. Show up and pay attention. That's what we need. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Lord. I don't know why I'm the person who has to cut people off because there's so much good stuff being said, but I was just informed we really need to try to keep this down to 1, 2 max. We've got a lot of people here. Okay, Reva Freilich?
Yeah.
All right, he's our enforcer.
Oh, the time.
I'm gonna give everybody the tap of doom at 1 minute, and then at 2 minutes, I'm gonna give you the second tap, and John's gonna walk you out the door. But we want, just be respectful of other people's time. We want everybody to speak. Everybody came out here, we wanted to speak, so here you go.
Hello, everybody. I'm Reva Freilich. Is Jim Perry here? I went to school with him, graduated 77 on Fairhope High. Anyway, I come in peace, and don't kill the messenger, please. I'm with the Sierra Club, Mobile Bay Group, and Alabama chapter. Wow. I have a magazine here. Oh, let me do a quick plug for the Sierra Club. It's very simple and easy to join, but it's not tax deductible because we do lobby. The special issue, A Guide to the Clean Energy Transition, Sierra, Fall 2024. So if you check out sierraclub.org, you might see it. You can read it online, and there's a great article in there about data centers. And I'm no longer on Facebook. Part of that is the reason, besides politics, is the data center usage and what it takes. So I live in Silver Hill, 45 miles from here. But I appreciate y'all being here and being willing to listen to all sides. Sierra Club has lobbied for a long time for the Beyond Coal campaign. We have fought Alabama Power. We've fought the Coal Ash Pond unlined pit. We've supported Mobile Bay Keeper. So we're just here to say we're an ally, a friend, however we can help, however you can help us. We meet the first Tuesday of the month at 6:30 back at the Five Rivers Delta. They've recently reopened at 5:30, and I'd like to think, so what is this world going to look like in 50 years for your kids and grandkids and great-grandkids if we don't do what's right? Wetlands, we believe in forests, preserving, protecting, and participating. So this should remain a wetland. Perhaps it could become a national park. A lot of people don't like that idea, but somehow, some way, I think we'll make it happen to preserve it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wade Perry?
I'm gonna tap Wade at 30 seconds.
And 2G, can you come on up?
Hey, my name is Wade Perry, Community Engagement Director for Mobile Bay Keeper. We're on it, we're with you, but I want to remind each of you that you have the power here. Southern Company made $1.7 billion last quarter. Meta is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. What they do not have is what y'all have right here, which is the power to do something about it. The power to talk to your friends and neighbors, to stick together and take it to the folks that were supposed to be looking out for you. Do not re-elect one single one of those public service commissioners. Look for somebody new. The two things that we need you to do, we also need you to ask 10 or 12 friends to do, and that's how this goes from 200 people to 2,000 people. All right? So Senate Bill 71 and House Bill 392. You call them, you call your friends and neighbors and ask them to do the same, and that is the first step to showing them how serious you are, that you're not going to be run over. Thank you so much for being here. Fight, fight, fight.
Can I get 2G, Slaughter Campbell, and also Harlan Wallner? Okay, while we're waiting on them, let's hear from Mr. David Peterson. Sorry, David.
Hey everybody, my name is Toogie Slaughter Campbell. I'm from downtown Tinsall. And just yesterday, I learned from Lon Yap's article about the 27 or 2,900 acres up there at Fort Pierce, right along Majors Creek. I know Nick told about it. I'm hoping that all of you will continue to fight, not just for this one here in Stockton, but also in Tinsall. That is a beautiful place. It was had big timber. I heard from someone a little earlier that they've seen a lot of timber coming out of there. So I suppose since May of 24, they have begun their process. I don't know if the permit has been given or not, but I hope that we can fight that. It goes up near Fort Pierce, which was an early fort, and the first school in Alabama. It's right beside Fort Mims and Fort Montgomery. These are historic sites since the early 1800s. So we all really need to fight together, not just for Stockton and Tinsall, but for every area, all the way to Little River into Monroe County. We have to stick together. This is our river system. These are our creeks and streams. This is our home. And if we don't stand together, who's going to help us? Who is going to do anything but us? So I just urge you all, stay involved. Get other people to come along and help, because we need everybody to stand together. Thank you.
All right, we're going to hear from Mr. David Peterson. And can I get Harlan Wallner up here? Oh, he's already here. All right, David Peterson first.
Okay, I am a horrible speaker, so I'll make it real short for you. I have fought numerous battles and a lot with the people up here in Stockton and different issues, fighting the takeover of the Delta by the national government. That's what this ad is. And it don't work unless you got money. So they're going to have to form a 501c3, hire lawyers and all. So I want y'all, everybody that can, to get with these people and make a donation. I made mine tonight, and it will work, but it don't do like I had to do, sell hats and t-shirts to raise money to fight things. Just dig into your pocket, and whatever you can give to these people to help us get this thing beat, because we can beat it. Thank you.
Thank you. Harlan Wallner.
I also have a couple of pages written that I'm going to skip over. The thing that I want to say that I haven't heard yet is that the worsening floods that we've been seeing around the world, more and more researchers are saying this is a result of we've sped up the water cycle. Water moves too fast through the ecosystems, it can't soak down, and then it speeds up and then it evaporates and it comes down, and faster rainstorms with more water. Texas, North Carolina, Valencia was hit last year. Indonesia, 1,000 people died in a flood last week. This is a result of us speeding up the water cycle, and projects like this where they cut down thousands of acres of forest, which slow down the water, like the water moves much more slowly through a forested landscape, is exactly the opposite of the direction that we need to go.
Bree Matheny. Let's also get Robin Gamble up here and Marissa Bradley.
Thank you, everyone. I'm going to try to make this as quickly as I possibly can. My name is Sabrina Matheny. I've lived here for over 45 years. I'm a big contributor to anything environmental. Short dish, y'all have already been addressed about the environmental hazards, how it will affect our endangered species. I also hope people will realize about the red tide, the brown algae that will come along with all of this. We will lose major ecosystems. We are also looking at losing our tourism.
Is 7 billion tourism worth losing? To boot, we are looking at health and safety hazards, the lead, the toxicity from the chemicals. We have major issues with hurricanes and tornadoes that put us in daily dangers. Now we need to add to it. Our groundwater will be affected. Our swimming holes will be affected. In the long run, if there is a hurricane, these solar panels get broken. Our kids cannot swim. We will not be able to attend the beach. We will not be able to enjoy our local seafood. We will suffer kidney damages, cancers, so many other things that we have been fighting over the years with environmental hazards. And I've lost many people due to these types of situations, and I'm truly upset to see it coming to our area. We have fought so hard to preserve our wetlands. There are federal regulations that will need to be followed. Environmentally, health risk, storm damage, archaeological. We got Indian mounds, history that will never be able to be replaced. Our generations to come will never know, let alone experience the things that we did or the generations before us had the chance to experience. And if this is something else that is allowed to come in, that's one more thing that's gone for them. I already don't take my child to creeks because of the hazards. I'm very careful about the foods we eat. Please think, research, take your time, and step up.
Thank you, Bree. Robin Gamble. And after that will be Marissa Bradley and Alex Missel. I hope I'm saying that right.
I came here to let y'all people know that I do build solar systems for individual people and stuff. So I have a lot of contacts in solar suppliers. My solar suppliers told me about this project 6 months ago. So 6 months ago, they were already taking bids for the panels for this and putting the project together. All of you people here, you have great comments to make about the environment and saving it, and it's all part of it. I'm originally from Arkansas, so I know about keeping the environment safe. But the number one thing here is that you have to look at the officials that are approving this stuff. If that is the real issue here, if you don't change out your representatives and the people who are supposed to take care of you, it's just going to keep on happening. If they've been in there for 2 terms, it's time to go. And that's all I got to say.
Who we got next, Megan?
Marissa Bradley.
That's all right there with me.
Perfect. Do I need to hold the mic for you so you can talk?
Hi, good evening. Thank you all for showing up. I think this is the only way we're gonna fight this, is by showing up and having people continue to show up and call your representatives like everybody's been saying. I'm a long-term resident of Saraland, Alabama, and I recently moved to Pensacola, so I have traveled over here to make sure that we conserve our wildlife and conserve our wetlands, because if we don't, we will not have a future. We won't have a future for our children and our children's children. And it's so very important. This land, in particular, as you all know, is America's Amazon. And it is an estuary. And an estuary, for those of you who don't know what that is, it is where all many species come to have their babies. This is a protection. The wetlands are a protection. And so it is up to us to protect these babies and protect the ecology, to protect our future and our children's future. Thank you.
Alex Missel or Missel.
My name is Alex Manzel, and I'm 16 years old. I've spent my entire life in the wilderness. My mom's an herbalist, so I'm very fairly educated about our wildlife. And I cannot even express how angry I am at what has been completely. This was kept secret from us. They surprised us with this so that we would feel like we can't do anything about it. But we can. It is so important to protect our wildlife. I want to grow up in a world where I feel safe to swim in the water, where I'm able to watch wildlife, where I'm able to go see the birds and
eat the fish out of the water.
Eat the fish out of the water. Protecting our environment is so, so important, and I hope that we're all able to step up. Thank you.
Okay, Richard Cox, can you follow that one?
Hey, Richard. I'm Richard Cox, and most of you in here know me. I've been here all my life. And I've heard one thing in particular that disturbs me. We're talking about zoning. This county already has three zoning systems in it. You got one that was developed in 1975, giving Montrose, Point Clear, Battle Wharf, Magnolia Springs, and Fort Morgan, called a historic district. They have their own zoning. Nobody goes in and tells them to do anything. They do it themselves. Okay? Then you have the county zoning, and then you have city zoning. Stockton is a landmark district. This line right here is the line separating range 2 east from 3 east. That's the east line of Stockton Landmark District. More than half of this property that we're talking about is in the Stockton Landmark District. The county commission has the authority to designate this as a preservation district, give us our own zoning. It won't take anything but a simple majority to vote of the commission to do it. Thank
Did we do Melissa Nichols? We've got Melissa Nichols, Jeff Ramsey, and Larry Vaughn.
Hello everybody, my name is Melissa Nichols. I am a local herbalist, a nature lover. I have grown up here my whole life. Everybody that came before me has also been here. My family is Porch Creek, so we are long represented here on Alabama's beautiful Gulf Coast. I'm really glad to see everybody here tonight, and I don't have very much to say that hasn't already been said better before I got up here. However, I would like to remind all of us that we as a people have the power, and whenever we band together, we are so much stronger. And I believe that the land, the water, the animals, it is also very worth protecting for the generations that are yet to inherit this beautiful place. So I'm glad that we're all here. Power to the people, and I believe that we got this. Okay.
Okay, Jeff Ramsey.
That's me. Hey, how y'all are? Look, I want to take a little bit of a different approach. We know about the environment, we know about all those things, but like we spoke about earlier, the PSC rubber stamped this, and I want to get a show of hands of how people in this room identify. If you are a conservative, please raise your hand. Okay, if you lean liberal, raise your hand. If you don't identify with either one of those, raise your hand. Okay? Yeah. But we're all here in the same room tonight because we know at the end of the day, what politicking is about isn't what we are about. Right? We want to go hunting, we want to go fishing, we want to live in a place where we can pay our bills, we want to do those types of things. So let's put people into positions that make decisions for the people instead of allowing them to run rampant and let Alabama Power do what they want to do with us, right? We're the people of Alabama. We should have a voice in the Alabama legislature and every day in our day-to-day life, right? So that's why I'm running for PSC if y'all want to vote for me, if you don't. But I'm not here for that. I'm here because we need the wetlands to continue to be here for not the animals, not just the people, but everything that's involved with that, right? So y'all have a good one.
Thank you, Jeff Ramsey. We've got two more people and then we've got questions. Larry Vaughn.
Good evening, everybody. Y'all know me pretty much in this community. I've been here about 17 years and everything, 19 years. And anyway, everything's been said tonight that we think about this thing. But what we got is the power of the people. That's right. You got to vote. And if we get this many people to vote on something, we get some changes made here. And this is what we need. We need some change. Because this is our environment, this is our home. Is we want our children to be raised here and grandchildren. So everybody knows we can do it. But I'm thankful that everybody shows up here tonight. We just need more community action and vote, vote, vote. And keep the fight. Thank you.
Tracy Gamble.
My name is Tracy Gamble. I'm running for County Commissioner, District 4, which is South Baldwin. However, I'm here because I want to volunteer to be on a committee if one is formed. I've already told the ladies in the back when I entered the room, and I know Georgine, but we haven't seen each other in a while. But I would truly like to help in a very significant way. And I think one of the biggest issues I have with this whole situation is the lack of transparency. And it is wrong. It's just wrong. Thank you.
Okay, we're getting pretty late in the night. I think what we're gonna do for questions, so that we have time to dig, because this is still so early, to be able to answer them. We're gonna have everyone, this door right here, on my left, there's a box, and we've got a bunch of slips of paper. So if you have any unanswered questions that you would like us to address, fill it out, drop it in the box. We're going to go through those and do that on the Facebook group. The irony is not lost on us. Let's see, we have announcements. Okay. First of all, landowners who have a border to this thing, I'm just gonna hang out up here by the podium. If y'all will come up here and let me get your contact info. If not, I'm Megan Fowler. You can DM me. And yeah, we'll grab it there. We didn't sort this out beforehand, but I will also be point person for any donations while we're figuring out getting signs and all sorts of things. Okay. We already have some yard signs ordered. They will arrive around the 13th. We have a small quantity available. These were ordered on day one when this news broke. We did not imagine we would have this many people that cared, and I'm so glad. So we have a small quantity available. It includes the legs. More can be ordered. So please sign up for that. And we're gonna have a pickup at Stagecoach Cafe. All right. The core group, I refer to us as like the leadership team. Again, we're just Baldwin County citizens. This is a completely grassroots thing. that formed from just, hey, are you mad? Are you mad? I want to help. I want to help. So I'm just calling us the leadership team right now. We have a call with Silicon Ranch on Wednesday, and we will be updating you right away in the Facebook group. I'm probably going to pull together some sort of newsletter now that we've collected emails outside on the sign-in sheets, so we can kind of move some things away from Meta. So the information might be dispersed there. Silicon Ranch did tell us in one of our very few communications we've had with them that they were planning a town hall meeting for April. And now that the cat's out of the bag and everybody's mad, they are scrambling to push that date up so that they can talk to the community. I don't personally have a lot of detail on this, but we do have a march around the Bay Minette Square. It's organized by John Thompson, and he set it for March 10th. I know one of the Facebook admins went ahead and added that as a Facebook event, so if you want to click that reminder and just keep making your voice heard. Let's see. I think that's it. I really appreciate everyone coming out tonight. There are a lot of creative solutions of how we can tackle this, and I feel very optimistic. I feel optimistic that we caught this as early as we did. I do think we have a fighting chance. We are planning another town hall. We might do it either here, we might do it at Live Oak Landing. Oh yes, thank you. And we will probably be inviting our state representatives and other politicians and higher ups to come speak at that one. So I'll keep you posted on that. And lastly, I want to remind you about the call to action sheets. We've got the flyers right at the entryway. We've also got it pinned at the top of the Facebook group. We have a series of these call to actions already mapped out. There's a strategic plan, and it's important that if we can get this many people, there's over 3,000 people in the Facebook group, if we can have that many people tackling these call to actions, we will be heard. So please grab that flyer and take 1-2 minutes to do the action item. Again, thank you everyone. Thanks. One more thing.
Before you all go, just a quick note. Some people have been asking me about, they're like, well, what about petitions? Let's start a petition. We can get tons of signatures. Well, I hate to inform you that Alabama is not a petition state. You can spend a year collecting signatures, take it to Montgomery, and they will laugh in your face and throw them in the trash. And I know this because I've experienced it. Right now, there is a bill that is stuck in committee, and I believe it's HB 14, that would give Alabama citizens the right to petition and put your measure on the ballot directly. It would not have to go through the legislature. Yeah, I believe it's HB 14. So start calling your representatives, tell them to support that bill, get it out of committee and on the floor to vote. Thank you so much for coming.